Let me see. Okay, we have this working, so that's a good step towards some direction, I guess. I have to start this. Yeah, okay. We have that. Now I can also make this one. And that is this one. And what's going on with this? Is the audio really broken out of nowhere? I mean, I shouldn't have changed anything in particular about the audio or something like that. I mean, volume settings, yeah. PC, in system sound, yeah. Okay, we have this is what I'm using, and on hearing it is working. Why is it? Why was it lowered? What? Okay, now it is speaking. Even. Um, why was it? Why was it lowered? Why was? Why was it lowered, man? Okay, like right here, it is now. Now it is louder than what is necessary. What's going on with this thing, man? What's the actual problem with this? Why was it? Why? Okay, I guess I should try to hear how it sounds right now because out of nowhere it is louder than usual. What? I have it at 50% less audio and it is still loud as. What is going on with this? Hello. What? Ah, okay. I have broken audio even. Now, what? What is going on with the microphone, man? What the. What? What? What's. What? Let me see. Levels. We shall go back to what it was before. Somehow. And now probably there is no sound, yeah? If I said it's what it was, it is okay, it is kind of working now. I guess I don't know. I don't see why it is not working or why it is working. Uh, it was around here. And around here it is still not loud enough. What? What happened with the microphone? What is actually going on with this thing? Audio. Let me increase it. Hello? No. It is still not loud enough. How can I? Okay, if I really try to scream, it peaks. But only if I really try to scream. And it doesn't really peak that much. It is a tiny bit of peaking. Anyways, let me hear how this sounds now. Yeah. Is it, is it like impossible to enjoy? What? No. What? Why is it so different? What? Let me. Okay, let me try this one thing. Levels, advanced, what? Predetermined, yeah. Default, yeah. Yeah. What's this? What's this one random setting? Nothing. I don't know. I guess it works. So, anyways, yeah. Anyhow, nonetheless, yeah. I don't know. I can't even explain why it did that. What's going on, man? But okay, we have audio, so that is already something better than before. An upgrade, as they will say. Now we can close this. Yeah, I mean, it's not even loud enough. I don't, and I didn't change anything at all. Why is it not loud enough? I mean, if I were to speak, well, I mean, I think I need to project my voice a little bit more into the microphone again. Maybe, maybe I'm not doing that enough, or it is weird to do it. I think it is something like that, but it is also weird, weird as hell to do it. Um, Fuck. I guess I don't know. Yeah, something like that. Wait, no, I said the F word. I am this is so over. We we are so over this thing. This is incredibly bad. Why the fuck do I have? What? Why do I have this link over here? What? Let me see. Anyways, so before I forget, I need to have this also open, and I didn't have it up. Quality content, something like that. Let me close this and also close this. Open this. Uh huh. Uh, what? Yes. Let me. I can close this. Finally, I can go back to this. I can. Okay. Now I finally have half of the thing set up, I think. Yeah, half, because the other half I already forgot to set up. This is going to be a fun stream. Anyways, let me leave this over here. Yeah. Uh, Let me leave this over here. And what else? Over here, I think, I guess. Okay, we have this. And everything is fine. I hope. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. The VC is starting to to run. Uh, so we only have 40 seconds. What happened to Greta? I had Greta open. Why did it close? What's up with that? Anyways, um, I forgot the second most important thing. That is Vido, because OBS is already open, so that I don't have to worry about. But Vido itself, I forgot to open. Um, Gimme. Give me a second. Between this thing trying to load and such. Um, video, 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 hello, video, video. We yeah, we're crashing probably. No? Yes? No, we're not. No, we're not. Wow, this is so good. Uh, video is video is lagging. How? How is video lagging? How did I make it possible to lag video? Um, vi- okay, I guess I I don't know. I guess yeah. Video is lying. That is all I can say. Video. What's up with the video? Uh, anyways, I guess I yeah I am stuck. What's video? It isn't that hard for you to function properly. What's going on, my dear brother? Is everything fine? Is this thing going to crash or something? Video, what? Um, Video? I don't know. It seems I can't make it work. Anyways, here we are. That's more important. Here we found ourselves. Wow, it took me more than expected. So yeah, uh, I don't know. I think yeah, video isn't responding in. There it is. Video. Hello. Anyways, I don't know. So yeah, aside from that, here we are. Here we find ourselves. Um, Back. That's the important thing. Here we have some interesting things to do today because yeah, I have something planned. Let's simply leave it at that. But as always, before anything else, and sorry for taking so long, welcome everyone. Welcome once again. Welcome to this our beautiful thinking session. Place to run completely free with the mind and our tiny cubicle of a space where we can fully dedicate our time to what we enjoy, at least on my end the most, and that is to squeeze the brain, as they will say. So yeah, hello everyone. Hello lookers, hello watchers, hello bot watchers also, and well, here, yeah, um, this is so far a pretty scuffed start because so many things are going not so well. I don't know even why. I think I can try to picture an image, but I don't really know why. So yeah, that's one thing. Also, kind of took longer than expected. I think it was like 10 minutes or so. No, yeah, like half an hour almost. Longer than what I really should have taken to be here. But I guess it happens. I don't really know how to. Yeah, I don't really know how to explain it. Sometimes it just happens that I do. Well, I mean, yeah, probably the best way to see it is I do procrastinate a little bit. So that leads to us taking longer to start. But that isn't really a problem, I believe. So yeah, it is nice once again to be here. Um, well, um, aside from that, a short update on what happened since last time that we find ourselves here. We did some Mahabharata, we did some readings, we did as always a little bit of karaoke of what was it, of Gangnam Style, because it is an obligation that we have whenever Bunkum claims that. So yeah, we did that. And well, it was very productive, I think. As always, very very interesting to see how it all ended up going. Today we have some plans aside from simply studying. Um, yeah, I kind of forgot about this one, and this one is really my fault. Give me a second. Let me edit this. Yeah. Okay, we have this. Wow, incredible production quality happens. There we have it. The shortest possible explanation as to what is the next thing before we really get into the stream itself, I guess. And basically that's everything that is going to happen so far for probably as always some time, quite some time. Because yeah, um, as I said, we we have we have had a day to rest in between the last session and this one, so that's also very good. I think I will try to stick with something like that, seeing that overall I didn't really expect yeah, not simply school but also other different obligations to not take so much time from me, so that I will have so many possibilities to keep streaming nowadays. Because I even said it before, I was at some point earlier in time we were more organized and we had less chances of really distracting ourselves with anything like this. Or not that it, yeah, not that it really is a distraction, more like it simply happened that I wasn't fully paying attention to other things, and I ended up having the possibility of being here, I guess. And I don't know, it, even if other things are kind of losing importance on life, I guess, or something like that. mm, it is still good to see that we can consistently find ourselves being back to here. Like, yeah, I don't really have that many traditions. I don't really hold that many, not simply, how to say it, not simply rituals, something like that. I don't have that many rituals that I do perform. So it ends up being interesting to see that this is very well one of the easiest ones to perform or to consistently do something like that. And yeah, it ends up being incredibly good to be here once again back. Because after all, it always happens that, at least on my case, I have different things that I wish to keep exploring. In this case, I didn't really expect that much to find what is going to be the future topic, and to stumble upon it so, yeah, so intensely as I did, because I think it will go back to being what we did last time, kind of, with this whole idea of what could be called um, this whole concept simply of what is, yeah, it was about what is the meaning of life, I think it, no, yeah, about how different people have their meanings on life and such, and how hope and objectives and such similar terms do work. So it was nice to do something like that, and in this case, once again, motivated by something that I fully insisted, I would say. um, we find ourselves back here, um, going back, or not going back, more like exploring the different conclusions that I was capable of taking out from those readings. In this case, the proper motivator of all of this was, um, yeah, what is simply Victor Franklin's book about man in search of meaning. Probably one of the most well-known ones in that sense, and overall, Yeah, it was it was a very good, I would say a very good reading or a very good hearing because I went with the audiobook version, and it doesn't simply happen that it was good. In reality, it is harsher than most other type of text that I have ever um, gone through. So yeah, it isn't something enjoyable by itself, but it is something that does deliver its point well, I guess, and it does leave you with the capacity of finding the different conclusions that it tries to contain well enough so that you don't have to even worry about what ends up being um, the sad part of the book, because it is plagued with things that not only do look bad but were probably fully horrible, and you can you can still, amidst all of those different problems, kind of um, find reasons to make the whole reading more than reasonably worth it. And in this case, as I said, I think it is more than worth it enough because, and even more in my case, I do believe it was rather interesting to go through it. I haven't ever read it before or heard fully anything on it before, so to analyze the different concepts that it did touch, and even more to have the whole scenario fully displayed, was very good, I will say, and very helpful overall because it does hold many concepts that do have the capacity of being not simply helpful, as I said, but rather constructive when it comes to understanding the different approaches that you might have to problems in life, and the different things that do come in that case with the question of what supposedly is the meaning of life, or something, yeah, something like that. And it does leave almost, if you had some background already with these type of questions and such, it does leave no room for doubts about if it is solid knowledge or not. And it ends up becoming, at least in my case, I know that I will have to work to it probably once or twice more, because it ends up becoming something that has so many different ideas contained and so much knowledge inside of it contained that it does give you the capacity of wishing for even more, because it offers so much and because so many different things are being said. So, on that sense, I really enjoyed that book, I guess. And I kind of lost where I should go next, but I have a PDF file or something like that somewhere on my PC, so I should be looking at that about what is the next um, book I should be moving into, I guess. And yeah, I will have to see. I mean, I don't fully know which direction it might take me next to, because I know I did a short list so far about which texts I should supposedly go through, but it is like only 5, 6 books so far. So I will probably, in a matter of, if I focus myself in less than a month, go through every single one of those. And if I really propose myself to do it, it will be not simply months, but more like weeks or 1 week, something like that. But yeah, anyways, the point is that one book was incredibly nice. I and because of that, as I said, I ended up having a lot of conclusions and a lot of ideas that I mostly want to map out into something more comprehensible not only for others, but once again, with this whole idea of explaining things being um, incredibly, yeah, incredibly constructive when it comes to also seeing if what you do know is holds properly inside of your head. I also want to test if what I know can be put into something comprehensible for others or something like that. That is basically the second reason as to why we are doing this. And I don't know, I mean, so far everything has been pretty pretty enjoyable, I will say. And I will try to observe which one movement I might try to make when it comes to, with that of this. Next, as in, it has a lot of different sides from where we can start this, but that is like probably we're going to try and start with that in like half an hour or so. So far, we don't really have to worry ourselves with what one question is it that we are going to start with, or something like that. And I don't know. I I kind of worry on a different note, I guess. I kind of worry because I had been noticing that mostly what we I had been doing here recently is focused just on my utmost interest, and I guess it should supposedly be nice to have the opportunity, sorry, of observing something like this later on, because at the end of the day, purely displayed interest might as well not simply be, um, yeah, it shows, let's say, that the person itself is in some way or capacity really attracted to what they are doing. So it, at the very least, I can say that we are not having a bad time here, even if obviously there are some times where different concepts that we do analyze are rather bothersome or boring or similar things like that, because unavoidably there are some parts about um, yeah, almost every single field that we have nowadays that do not really hold that much capacity of bringing out anything at all that might be good to try and watch or try and immerse yourself into. I I can see it happening with almost everything, at least from what we have been going through here. But the biggest chances of that, or the biggest times where that does happen, is when we do, for example, go through different um, ideas presented in the lessons that we analyze, and the different yeah, the different things that are being said throughout the lessons when we do go through the lectures and so on and so forth. Because sometimes, um, not sometimes, there is obviously, or there was, what is it? Uh, Teaching schedule, something like that. I think it is. Um, because they have to follow it, sometimes they don't really know how to segue one topic into the other, so we end up having ideas that are barely connected because you know that at least we are observing something from the field of psychology, so that is minimally useful, but the rest of it is really not not that comprehensible on the whole map of things, because yeah, the different reasons that I already mentioned. Sadly, it lacks more cohesion, I guess. But still, we have at the very least the capacity of giving that cohesion to all the lessons ourselves, and even more. Even if they are lessons and they are more so lectures, we don't have to worry about doing bad or such things, because we do go through them without worrying. Mm, on the scholar sense or on the scholar then, because this is certainly a place for recreation and something like that. So there is no, in that sense, I obviously said there is no obligation for us to take it so seriously as to, wow, it can't be that we didn't get every single part of it. Um, Obviously, I will try to say that even if we have no obligation to do so, it is at the very least in my interest to try and see how many of those things I can remember, because at the end of the day, they are all related to different topics that I have always wanted to analyze and such. So they are nice. They are truly nice and they are truly interesting. More so, um, but I don't really get that often to observe or to think which different mm, actions, I guess, which different ideas or plans I do go through when it comes to observing, yeah, observing and trying to put into their proper place all different things that we do go through, I guess. And even if it doesn't really happen consistently, that every single time we watch or we immerse ourselves in all of those things, as in something that does happen consistently, I guess. Um, when it happens, we do have almost always something to take out from those different, yeah, from every single resource that we do explore. And I mean, it isn't that in reality they don't happen. It is more like we simply do find that sometimes the ideas that we explore are rather not that deep, I guess, or not that com- confusing. No, not that, not that fledged, or not that interconnected. I guess I don't really know how to say it, but basically they don't even have that many sites to try and take them from. So yeah, it really doesn't show, at least for me, that many ways to be truly interesting. And sadly, because of that, we don't really have a chance at always finding which thing might be the best for us to try and do. So, yeah, something like that. I don't know. I don't know. But the point is, original point is, we have been going through a lot of stuff, and there is always no obligation to try and remember them, even if my particular objective is to do so. So I guess we are fulfilling that one role, that one thing, I will say. And more so, it is not only that we are fulfilling it, it is that we are doing so in a way in which it feels nice. Because um, you can, yeah, if you were to go to school, for example, you will also have kind of the obligation to try and learn things as we do here. But as yeah, this I mentioned before, there is no real scoring system behind what we are doing and what we are trying to learn and what the different knowledges that we are supposedly trying to acquire are, and how well or bad we did, and how much we lost or how much we truly learned and how much we changed. It simply is a journey that we decide to take by ourselves. And if, in your case, you decide to stay, let's say, it isn't really my fault, in the sense that there is no real way for me to tell you that you shouldn't be here. It is more like, oh, obviously, we're not going to have leisure time or so much leisure time. At the end of the day, it happens that we do exert ourselves a little bit whenever we can. I mean, I don't know. The only question that I haven't really answered on that sense is if on my end I am doing it also because of a sense of ego or something like that, As in, why would I really want to observe so many things and show that I supposedly know and such? But when it isn't with things that are so complex, there is a more comprehensible idea as to, at the end of the day, I didn't really understand that much about hydration and such when I was younger, and I would have liked to have the opportunity to learn about them from others and from those who even more wish to share information as we are doing here, because at the end of the day, um, even if it sounds incredibly corporate, it is true that all of this is done completely for free, and all of this is left online for free, aside from the cost that is to own or to have access to internet and to have access to something that can display and can observe all whole stream, whatever. Aside from those things, um, the way in which this is transmitted and the way in which this is upheld through time is free. So it, at least in my case, I do think it is minimally good, and it is minimally positive that we do have the chance of, in as I say, observe and be active members of all of these different notions. I guess, I don't know. But yeah, something like that. Something like that. Um, well, I don't know how much I have. Let me see. I might try to go a little bit longer. Something like that probably. I haven't really get to. Let me see. No. We haven't really went that much up so far. So yeah, that is one thing, and that is certainly something good, because we don't have to worry so much about everything else. If we do enjoy what we're doing here, and if we do also have the capacity of saying that this is not only something that we enjoy, but even more, it is something that we consistently find ourselves going back to, let's say. So yeah, everything is fine. I guess that's the way. Ah, that's the best way to put it. Everything is fine. And because everything is fine, we can keep finding ourselves doing well in that regard, I say. And well, now moving into something minimally different. Wow, crazy, huh? I don't know. Um, I don't know. I don't know. I have been recently thinking, and I have been recently observing all of these things that are related to securing kind of your own health and your own not simply health, what is your health quality basically, and trying to ensure that you stay healthy. That's the word. um, Trying to ensure that you stay healthy is always the one of the biggest things to try and do, because at the end of the day you have no obligation whatsoever to find yourself doing good, but it does feel nice to see that there are so many minimal actions that we can take, and so many minimal ways in which you can improve your not simply your cognition. It is more like, yeah, your overall state, simply because you are paying attention to some patterns that you do engage in, and similar things that I was, yeah, it becomes almost overwhelmingly good how many tiny steps you can perform to find slowly yourself in a place of better health once again. Because with time, it is that you do see the whole recollection of those minimal changes as something probably a little bit bigger, but by themselves, if you simply have to drink one, yeah, something that supposedly is very common with the average human person, if you have to simply start to drink one more glass of water every single day, that is almost no change at all, because it is in such a tiny way the change that you're making about something that, in the case of drinking water, for example, you already do in one way or another. Because the point isn't exactly to stray drinking water, but more like to be hydrated and to find yourself ways to stay fully in shape with all of the different drinks that you do have. But to integrate something so small like that into your whole diet when you are not properly hydrated increases and overall makes your whole life so much better that it feels almost weird, because it isn't simply that one change that you can do. It is more like the whole array of different connections and different upgrades that you can throughout time find yourself engaged in is what makes them so worth it. I At least that is how I feel about them. In my case, I don't know. I think there are some other cases in which you will try to argue that it certainly doesn't feel that much useful to try and be a participant of some kind of easy changes to do in your life. Overall, you wouldn't really wish or try to increase your caffeine consumption if you are by default somebody who doesn't need to have such intakes of that type of substance, I guess. But there are some others that do feel better. Um, Welcome, Klondike. I hope you're doing well. Welcome, welcome. And yeah, I don't know, I don't know. We have a lot of those basically that you can find throughout life, I guess, that do feel nice. Those small, minimal portions of change that do affect you positively. And I was thinking, I don't know, probably an interesting way to picture them is something like, okay, you feel good with those things, um, or they benefit you so much because it is as if we were kind of forgetting what is necessarily the smallest fundamental step of our advancement towards being in a healthier state, I guess. And it doesn't simply happen that you, out of nowhere, do takes those measures, but rather that what you were lacking was so crucially necessary for you that the similarity would be, or a good example would be, if you, instead of letting your different wounds heal with time, you were constantly removing the layer of skin that forms over it when it is trying to heal itself, something like that. So I don't know. I will say the impressive side of that is that obviously you end up seeing how little care we do take of ourselves, or not how little, more like how mm, uninformed we do are about all of the different actions that we might want to take to stay healthy overall. Because at the end of the day, I will guess almost anybody wishes in some way or another to not suffer through life because you are, yeah, you're having different conditions and illnesses affecting your body. So I don't know. I think it is kind of crazy to see it. But I mean, yeah, I also remember what I once told with a friend now. That sadly, many of those types of information lie behind more academical approaches to the problems and such, and more in this case, I don't think it is appropriate to say it, but more quote unquote elevated states of consciousness, discussions, or higher echelons of understanding of reality, something like that, because it isn't the same to say simply that you should stay, yeah, you should drink water to not be drowsy throughout time than to articulate it in more complexly, as in the moment in which the human stops properly hydrating to the required levels to which they do have sufficient amounts of, yeah, of non-viscosity in their blood, they do find their overall bodily functions being increased because the system itself that is in change of taking care of the whole human has to deal with less stress, and this whole less less stress environment leads to the person to mm, have a better working condition, something like that. And when so many things are put in that way, obviously almost anybody will have a problem with comprehending what is even talked about in those moments. But I don't know, I think it is kind of the process itself also to see that things like that do happen and that you do find moments in which you sadly have to overcome the adversity, I guess, of not really being fully in contact with what language is being used for those terms and such, and that you simply need to. I don't know, I think it might come from humility or something like that. I guess that's the excuse I want to put in this case. That if you're capable of saying, okay, I don't know about this one thing, I needed to know, or not that I need to know, I need to learn about these things so that I can utilize those knowledges properly. Because of those things, then you do gain the capacity of being more immersed in all of those words, yeah, worlds of knowledge and ways to keep expanding what you might already know into, once again, more and more complex ideas, something like that, I guess. But I don't know, it doesn't always happen like that. I also notice because there are some cases in which also lessons are pretty, yeah, pretty straight, and unless you do have the first-hand experience, you don't really get the message. So that is also sadly another part of this. But I mean, not always we need to. I don't know. Yeah, this is something that I have been analyzing also, because it comes from aside from being truly distrustful, but not from somebody who is unknown. Because even if it is told from your very same matter, sometimes you don't even believe what they are saying because you wish to test and to yeah, to put into a test if what they are trying to tell you might really be true or not. And at those times, I think it becomes kind of a problem. At least in on my eyes, it does negatively impact others because at the end of the day, you don't really have a chance at um, learning, or yeah, mm, this whole topic is because of staying healthy. So in this case, you are negating yourself the capacity of kind of living your life to the fullest if you don't have understanding about those different concepts. But who besides yourself is really going to show you that if in this case we don't really have that much time to do so? I don't know. I that is something completely different at that point. But yeah, that is basically what I have been also thinking about, or what I have been trying to figure out. In I think it is always interesting because at the end of the day, in at least from my point of view, the conclusion that you can take out of it is it doesn't really deal that much with the negativity of others are not playing the role. It ends up leading to the better one of wow, I have so many opportunities to increase my overall quality of life, I guess. And because of that, I do feel kind of not kind of I do feel better in this argument of health. But yeah, I mean it always does happen that you find things like that and that you keep being part of such a world. Even more obviously, if you can't in any way whatsoever avoid being immersed with such ideas or something like that, I guess. But yeah, I don't know how much I have been talking. 40 minutes already. Nice. So yeah, let me drink some water. And probably you are going to try to start already. I think. I think okay. A tiny problem that happened is I finished the book like 3 or 4 hours ago, so I kind of already forgot some, not some, the main reason as to why I wanted to start with this whole idea and the way in which I wanted to structure this. So that will be hard to do because I have to come up with that right now instead of going back into the memory that I had before. I guess it happens. I guess sometimes it is just like that. That obviously I can't hold those memories so much in my head. I guess I don't know. Anyways, moving into let me see. It is over here, and this will be resisting. Obvious. Are we okay? There we are. So, I don't really have that much space for anything here, right? This is kind of a problem, but I mean, the reality is also we don't really need that much space. At the end of the day, quality itself doesn't really help with trying to, yeah, trying to have text or that much text anywhere. I guess I don't know. Let me see. Here we are. Um, the idea itself today on topic now. Go finally saying what we are going to deal with. What's line? Hello? What's going on? Greta, are we crashing? Oh yeah. Anyways, no for real, sorry. The the one thing that we are going to deal with is, in particular, meaning. Something like this, basically. That ends up being overall a very recurrent topic, I guess. As in, why we do struggle so much with finding a meaning of life itself. And I guess not that we're really going to say, wow, this is the one reason as to why you should stay alive. I would go more from for the proper approach that was shown, as I said, um, in the book itself. Um, let me leave it over here. I think, yeah, I think it is kind of what to, at the very least, mention a proper reference because at the end of the day, even if I don't really consciously say anything about it, there are a lot of ideas in my mind that do relate with this and that I'm still, as I said before, integrating. So maybe that is going to be an influencing factor on this. Mhm. Okay, there it is. Yeah. Or let me. Okay, there it is. Um, it isn't the same name. Fuck. No. Okay, here it is. So yeah, just in case, as I wanted to keep it clear, at the end of the day, I do know that even if I don't make it obvious, there are references hidden behind my own mind that decide to say, yeah, you know what? We are going to fully copy what you heard from this part. So probably I should at the very least accept that it is going to happen. But yeah, the discussion itself of today is going to be about the meaning of life and or the possible interpretation as to why we are deciding to have a meaning in life, something like that. Because it does become very apparent that we are, after all, very focused on what is the idea of our actual being and what is the idea of our objective with existing or why we really do exist in this world and such. So it does become apparent once again that trying to give a sense or a even if it is kind of redundant, a sensible understanding to this idea is um, more helpful than to leave it behind and to believe even more than that it is not necessary for us to explain something of this sort when we do in fact spend so much of our time contemplating, I guess mostly unconsciously, questions like this one. After all, we do have a lot of things that we through yeah recurrently throughout time we observe and we try to make sense out of because even more based on something that I have heard, I can't fully remember where. Um, we really do go back into similar places and we do really struggle with the same problems most often than yeah, more often than not. So there, there ends up happening throughout so much repetition that we really do question if the repetition itself of those things was worth it or not. So yeah, basically that, I guess. Trying to make sense out of this nonsensical world in these cases, or one option or one or objective, I guess. Um, but yeah, once again, back to Hero. You are trying to observe and trying to organize something that can be comprehensible about what is the meaning, or what we can extract from questioning itself the meaning of life, something like that, I guess. Okay, yeah. So now I can't keep making this less and less possible to understand. Let me move into to explain some other things. Okay, I think with this we have a starting point so far. Yeah, as always, trying to introduce, yeah, to introduce to the topic itself why it will be necessary for us to try and deal with a question of this sort. After all, we don't have any obligation to really do so. So to spend our time trying to make it consistently a reoccurring thing might as well even be detrimental, even more after all, because we don't really get the chance of not simply enjoying, but even more seeing why a question like this can have a proper response. I that is the way, yeah, that is the best way that you can observe something like this. Because if you believe that, for example, there is no possible way to find a proper reason for this, and for what is um, the, the meaning that you can give in this case to your own life later on, when you don't possess something like that, you can't keep moving towards anywhere. As it sadly happens that, yeah, there are more than enough examples to show that when we lose what makes our existence um, not simply valuable, but more like solid enough so that we do sense like it is in some way useful to do so, to keep existing, sorry, um, then it is that we, by not having contemplated something like this, we lose the capacity of remaining here. And in that case, obviously, it comes down to the individual, but fulfilling the role that we should have been supposedly fulfilling, something like that. Um, yeah, something like not simply why have a, okay, it is more like a why contemplate the question itself. After all, what will you ask? Yeah, one of the quote unquote good, yeah, good arguments that you can make always is Why would you contemplate something so complex and even more what you hear older people sometimes when you are younger and decide to ask this question for the, I don't know, for the 10th time? What you end up hearing is, why are you asking me this? Why would I need to provide you with a response? I This is incredibly bothersome, something like that. So why would it be necessary for us to try and deal with this question itself? That is the starting point of this, I guess. Because at the end of the day, as I said, if you don't even have a reason to justify why we're going to spend our time with this, you might as well not try to do so. At the end of the day, let's say like this: if you don't don't believe that what you're doing is in any way beneficial to you, the intensity to which you dedicate yourself to those actions is going to be not only decreased in the observable way, but it's also going to be negatively affected by your capacity of performing in that said action. So in this case, if we decide to come here and say, wow, we can try to ask about the meaning of life or try to observe why something like this is minimally useful to consider, but we have already the predisposition in our mind to kind of say or believe that, you know, this doesn't really have any meaning at all. Why are we not, instead of doing this, entertaining ourselves right now and avoiding something so unnecessarily complex and trying to tackle something so absurdly large and undefined as it is the meaning of life itself, you know? So doing the starting point, that is to settle proper reasons as to why it is beneficial, end up at the very least for me being the first step, something like that, I guess. Um, but yeah, I think I will try to list it a little bit, because at the end of the day, observing this question and that the conclusions can be helpful isn't really that much of a description. Let me feel this a little bit more. I think with what I said, it will be fine. So let me add that. To observe. I already used observe. I don't care. Um, I wouldn't say this. Yeah, I wouldn't not say a big question or a recurrent. I think it is both. At the end of the day, yeah. Okay, yeah. So far, damn. Every time the canvas is getting smaller, I don't know how. I guess the problem is I write too much or something like that, I don't know. But yeah, simple explanation. I think I already mentioned it. But yeah, when you can consider something like this and you can get the possibility of explaining it even more to yourself and to understand why something of this sort might be minimally interesting to observe with your free time, let's say, you get first and foremost the chance, if you do it supposedly well enough, to not have to find yourself with this problem anymore later on. You find in yourself the chance of somehow fully removing the problem that is this question itself existing in your life. Because at the end of the day, everybody wants to know a sufficiently strong enough reason so that they don't have to believe it might be questioned by somebody else, or even if they do believe that it is strong enough, if it does get questioned by somebody else, it does crumble, or it might crumble in the case of it being not not good enough, but not being questioned by anybody. So yeah, that is the fifth thing. And the second one, something that is probably a later point, but still an important one, is that you also get the possibility of understanding how to deal with the problem itself. Because at the end of the day, later idea, you might move from what is your actual meaning on your life. So you might benefit from simply knowing how was it that you were capable of understanding something like this and seeing it sensibly enough so that you can stop worrying about the reasons or about the justifications behind your existence, I guess, something like that. So yeah, all of those things do fall into those places, and with that, I guess it is a little bit more explained as simply, oh yeah, because observing this question is good. Moving on now. Um, what the fuck? In terms of how to, yeah, sadly, yeah, there is no way to not mention this word more than once, I guess. So yeah, yeah, okay. Is it understandable? This this is an A. I think somewhere along the way of making the letters tinier, they became less understandable than before. I don't know how. Anyways, yeah. First and foremost, now, after, as I said before, trying to justify our time spent here, moving into where is it that we try to start with such a question, and why would we even try to consider it? The first step, I believe, is to observe where is it that as individuals we are standing in terms of what is our whole existence without a proper reason, as in justifying or not justifying, simply putting into perspective all the things that are already happening to us and all the things that are also happening because of us, not in a sense of saying, okay, I am in this earth and I am in this place, in this country, in this province, in this city, in this home, doing these things and aiming for this goal. No, it simply is comprehending what our actual position is, maybe starting from the highest point into the lowest, yeah, capacity for resolution that you have of observing where you are is good at the end of the day, as long as you're capable of not involving what are intentions with your own existence. You are doing good, but the necessity is to not give any particular meaning when you're simply trying to see what is happening around you. If you don't even get the capacity of fully seeing what are the different things surrounding all of your possible, yeah, all of your possible causes of being in this place right now, then it is that you already start to have problems later on with what ends up being creating or having an interest, or even more, the worst one, finding a proper explanation as to why you are here in this world. So it all needs to be, first and foremost, put into a proper perspective as to why, not why, how, and where it is that you are. And from that, then it obviously now moves into the second phase of um, I think, yeah, I kind of mentioned it before. This in reality goes into the second one more than the first one. I think, yeah, the second one now for real. Continue with what I was saying before. The second stage ends up being also to try and observe which things are happening actually, not that are going to happen or that are going to start moving, are actually consistently happening because of our efforts throughout life itself and because of our efforts with what is living in and on itself. The problem is here, obviously, that you need to not once again take into consideration what might be a possibility. You only need to see what is already going on. As in, you need, after seeing what kind of brought you to be where you are, you need to have consciousness of what is already consistently occurring throughout time in the present moment, not by considering the future or by considering that maybe if you did. No. It simply is picturing what you are already being a part of and what you are already taking an active role in, or at the very least contributing towards. Because, and here is also another tricky thing, I guess, um, you need to be sincere with what is your existence already contributing to. And the problem is, if you need to be sincere, you do not only need to say that things are going a certain way, but even more, you need to accept that sometimes negative things are also happening because of what you are already doing and what you're already being a part of. As in, I guess a good example would be, if you are a farmer, you might as well already be producing some food, but if by trying to produce food, you're also sadly destroying other parts of the surrounding environment to keep producing your food, you might as well be contributing to two almost completely different things. And one is obviously the production of something that is consumed by humanity, and you're already being a provider and whatever, but you're also being somebody who is slowly, and if this were to be, let's say, um, supported throughout time, you're going to be a contributing factor towards what is the destroyal of the rest of the biodiversity that does exist in this world already, and that does kind of play what are the different parts of this earth in which we live. So it doesn't mean that you are only doing the food production, you're also taking place on the other thing that does come with your own actions. As in, let's say, an easier example, I guess, it will be, even if you're taking the place of somebody who is studying, what you're also doing at the same time of taking part in an educational system is, sadly, you are taking that seat from somebody who might as well also take benefit from that. Because it doesn't simply happen that you do occupy your space. If that space were to be free, somebody else might probably also take it. So as long as you keep existing in that ambience and keep doing what is, I mean, this can be applied almost to any particular position in nowadays society. You are working a job, you're doing, yeah, you're being part of an educational system, you're filling a role. While you are filling that role, you are also negating the possibility from somebody else to filling that role. So the more you can observe what is the different things that do happen because of you, and the different things that do consistently involve your existence around it, the more you can take now a good look and a good picture of what does become, or what tries to be, not simply a justification, but rather an understanding about the way in which so many things do take place in this world, without having, I guess, at the very least, I feel, without having to worry about what the rest of everything does, when it comes even more to observing and being part or a byproduct of somebody else, let's say. Because I guess, yeah, you can go even to the highest of the realms, that is what is happening because you keep existing. But the problem is, once again, You only need to observe the things that you do know with certainty that are happening. In this phase, I guess, you still don't have the capacity, or you shouldn't even start to observe what might change or what might be possible to do differently if you change in any particular way. Only to take note of what is already going on because you exist. Something like that is complex but possible. I still believe to almost anyone. But yeah, here I have a problem. That is, we need to take our first I don't know how to call this session. But yeah, so far we have defined like two concepts or three, I think. Or Greta, don't crash on me, Greta. Please, I beg you, Greta. Thank you. Anyways, yeah, I will. I will take a thank you, thank you, thank you for your patience. I will now go and do what I need to do somewhere. Uh, like 1 or 2 minutes, it will be long. Bye. Wow, I am back somehow. I guess it happened that I am back. Magic, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, damn son. Let me see. Okay, Greta Crash. So that is a win on my dictionary. Um, Let me get back to here. Greta, Greta. Hello, Greta. Let's see if we can not crash. Dear God, Greta. Uh, so yeah, we have we are still starting with this. I think it will probably still even if I try to make it kind of fast, it will not be possible to cover everything. It's just one stream. I don't know. I don't really know. This will be rather sad to not fully go through probably. But anyways, at the very least, we are going to try and we are going to see where we do have to stop with this. Moving on, going back to this, yeah. So, as I said, we left on the side of now how we can start to sense or we can start to make a proper notion about what is the meaning of our life. In a sense, sadly, I guess I went straight to the point of how to try and find it ourselves. Um, so that might as well be a problem later on. But that's I will cross that river when I find it or something like that. They say on Italian. No. Anyways, thank you, Greta, for almost crashing once again. Greta, oh my god. Okay, there it is. So yeah, after this, as I said, we have so far only two steps, and that is to see what is happening that makes us exist right now. Later on, to observe what also happens because we exist, in the sense that what are the factors that drive our existence, are the factors that not simply drive, sorry, that lead to our existence, to our presence in the world on one hand, and on the other one is also to observe what things do get created out of our sustained existence without, as I said so far, thinking about different possibilities when it comes to taking other routes of action. It is only about observing what does happen when we exist as beings, let's say it like that. So, yeah, that is the first two things to do. Now, and this is, I think, kind of obvious, it comes the part. No, okay, as I said, so moving now into the third one, I think it is pretty obvious that we are now getting into the idea of, for real, in this case, observing which different types of situations and actions we can engage in our life now that we know where we are and what things do happen because of us and to us that we can try to see, and this is, I think, also a hard part, if we do simple enough changes in our lives, and I shall repeat, if we don't take unmeasured actions and incredible feats of change in our lives, if we go for the simplest of the modifications in what is our existence so far, how many things could go differently? That is the starting point of where we can try to observe how these things work and how these different problems might try to get solved, let's say. Because the fundamental of this is, in this case, to put into perspective how many possible things can be changed when we take the tiniest of the actions and the once again, I think it is kind of understandable that so far all of the things that do play a role in this are incredibly complex. If you don't have a proper vision about where you are, who you are, what things do happen to you, what do you create, how your actions influence the future and such. But this also gets to be an exercise to observe your capacities in said areas, because at the end of the day, if you do struggle with something of this sort, it means that you should be considering it more and that you should be basically spending more time trying to find which proper explanation for this can be utilized so that you can satisfy these questions properly without feeling lost in the sea of different notions that you might want to answer. So, yeah, as I said, in this case, you realize the action of simply seeing and observing what types of thing could be changed by simply exerting yourself in this world and by not tiring yourself out and doing measurable actions and not changing so many of the different things that do make what you are and what you are doing with your life. With the tiniest of the steps, how many things can go different ways. And I think this is also something useful because in the previous step, as I mentioned, if you are capable of being honest with yourself, you will see that you are also taking place in things that are probably negative to you. Because there is this one notion or this one idea on psychology that if you do wish to change something negative about your life, you already know which negative thing is happening to you. So you only need to see how it is that you can change it. And in this case, it comes into the form of being capable to see right now what things are also being created out of your actions, and later on considering how much it will really take you to stop those negative outcomes to keep perpetuating themselves throughout time. Because in this case, you do have the capacity of changing those behaviors in such a manner that it wouldn't mean a big sacrifice from you, or that it will mean that you lost a fundamental piece of who you are as a human being, let's say. You can word it as whatever type of excuse you want to put behind not trying to change something that you do know is negative. Or obviously even more, for example, something very tiny and something that if you can find the proper way to do it will not mean that you're going to, by taking those actions, end up fully bankrupt. You can increase the amount of tipping that you do when you buy something or when you go to a restaurant, whatever it is, type of consumption that you do make. You simply by increasing that, you might as well be making enough of a contribution to the rest of society. Maybe. And that is already a minimal change that you can perform well enough, obviously, as I said before, to not mean that in the long run you're going to find yourself bankrupt because you spent all your money not only on the things that you need to buy but also on providing others with a little bit of an extra incentive so that they can keep working. You do it sufficiently enough so that you can make, in this case, a contribution to society without losing yourself too much or almost anything at all if it is possible. Because the objective is that to observe in this stage what things can be done, and also the second part that is on on the right, why trying to act in such a way might as well be beneficial for you, because that is also incredibly important. If you don't notice the importance of your actions, nobody else can try to show them to you. And if you can't see how many things can be changed and why you might want to make that one or those many changes to keep, not to keep, to obtain those results, maybe you will not find somebody who's going to provide those responses to you, because so far we are only doing this from the perspective of somebody who's willingly taking upon the challenge of defining all of these questions for themselves, from themselves. So yeah, we are assuming that you might as well not get any aid when it comes to this so far. Mhm. And well, yeah, if it isn't always enough, now we're moving to the supposedly fourth stage of this process. I think this point isn't that long, but we might as well simply stop on it, just to, yeah, just to keep the record of it, just in case. But after having done what we described before, as simply observing, which is minor details, minute changes you might make to your life to get the different outcomes that you might want and that you might desire to always get, By doing that, now it is that you can move into the fourth phase, and that is to consider which huge, big modifications you can do to your routine, your life, your schedule, whatever, that it takes you to not simply know what you are doing, but also to believe that what you are going to start doing is also to get you to obtain what you wish to obtain, in the sense of you. I think it is presupposed here, and it is pretty obvious that you by yourself have already wishes that you might want to fulfill in life. If you have no particular wish, you might as well need to reconsider and need to observe and reassess all of the different things that have been mentioned so far, because this has been talking about somebody who had already in mind an idea about why things do happen and why would anybody want those things to happen in the way they do happen. So if you don't even find a coherent reason as to why things are happening the way they are in your life, and why things are positively modified by your existence, you might as well not have the capacity of moving into a phase like this, where you are now facing your wishes, your objectives, and your different dreams in life, and seeing how it is that you can perform them. I guess, well, yeah, there are different justifications for all of these concepts, but later on we'll have them. I prefer I prefer to do it that way at this point, taking into consideration that I didn't really mention any of those before, so starting with the fourth will be kind of weird. But yeah, you simply observe where is it that you can start to go to when it comes to fulfilling those different wishes that you have as a human being. And those things is that even if they are big and even if they mean a lot, are possible to make and might completely secure the completion of your objective. As in, for example, something that is huge for almost anybody is to start taking care of their physical health by realizing exercise. And even if it is true that you want to be in a healthy state, what you have to do is commit so much of your present and future time that you will end up finding out that it was possible to do so, but not without first and foremost committing to this goal. So, yeah, it means that you need to observe those different types of things happening. And I don't think I have provided any particular example so far, but in this case, pretty evident ones, as I said before, are first and foremost going to take care of your physical health by realizing physical exercise, starting to work to that one job that you wanted because you are aiming to get a house, it's trying to obtain a position in that company that you have so much desired because you wish to also be part of that. Here is where those big changes start to all take place, and after something big we can only escalate a little bit more. So I think we can, quote unquote, finish this at the very least this whole idea of what is it that we start trying to define meaning. So yeah, basically that's the second point so far. Second, what the fuck? My bad. I guess I'm sleepy. That is now for real the fifth point on this whole concept line. That is that after having defined something that can be a huge change, but that you can still commit to, you now take the highest of the risk, and that is to find something in your life that you have been wishing for, that you can observe as potentially good, not only for you, but also probably for those who are around you, and even more obviously for the society in which you live. And you, although you accept that it is impossible to achieve, you see how many ways it has to be brought into reality and try to make it be born into this universe in which we inhabit instead of having it lying around your mind. Because the value of that idea might as well be more than enough to find it leveraged not only by you as the one who quote unquote founded it, but also by those who later on find the importance of such a concept, such a tool, such a aggregation, whatever it is, being truly maintained, created, or brought into reality as we have been talking. And once again, you need to accept that it is going to be probably impossible, but you also have the capacity of finding how beneficial it is going to be so that you can justify the different efforts that you're going to make towards that impossible to achieve goal, because the more you can see it as something beneficial, the more the high wall that is the impossibility itself of bringing them into reality stops being so meaningful. Because when something is so beneficial for everybody, even if the highest state of it is not achievable, even the smaller parts of that start being already useful to whole societies themselves. So if you already have an idea that ends up being good, by minimally starting to see where is it that you're standing with that right now, and where is it that you might go with that in the future, is that you get the capacity of being sincere with yourself and getting to, in this case, find an almost everlasting objective for which you can keep striving towards, even if the rest get consistently modified. And obviously, as long as you have the capacity of working on that one. So yeah, that is so far the simplest way to define how it is that you might try to engage in all of this. And now I guess I made a promise that I might not really fulfill, but that is um, to explain all of these things as to why they are necessary steps to take towards trying to comprehend what is the meaning of life itself. Mm, well, I think I kind of mentioned them a little bit before, but that is first and foremost, when you start to observe what is it that you're existing, you also get the capacity of understanding why so many things are happening to you, because a fundamental reason as to why you exist are the different things that do consistently occur to you no matter what. So if you can pinpoint all of those things and tell exactly to yourself why so many influences are mm, truly being part of your reality and being part of who you are, it is that you get to see maybe what different actions you can also execute. That is the first step towards gaining consciousness about what are your capacities. And the second one, it is, as I said here, is to observe now what things are already happening because of you. Because once you become aware of what is your existence, you also have the capacity now of becoming aware of what is already doing your existence in this world, because you might believe that not that many things do really occur because of your efforts, but the reality is Even if you are, as they will say, a wage slave who only works himself to death, as long as you're capable of mm, showing to yourself the importance of your actions and showing in how many infrastructures are your efforts spent and how many things might as well even almost survive because of you, if you can do that properly, what you get out of that is once again the reassurance of your importance in this world, because you can see that in reality, maybe if you disappear from this world, you're not going to be so meaningless as sometimes we do believe that we are, because we once again don't get the possibility of noticing how many influences we already have on this world. And that is when we now go into the third part, because now that we have gained consciousness about how influential we are, we also start to see something very particularly interesting that does happen with any particular effort of ours, and that is to gain consciousness about this whole notion not only of our efforts, but how incredibly tiny some of our efforts needs to be to obtain different results that we might as well have been wishing for, or stop getting those undesired results. And that is where it also gets, funnily enough, enjoyable, because you get the chance at seeing sometimes how many different things are happening already, not because you wish for them, not because somebody told you that they were necessary, but rather just because you decided to not abandon the idea that was, I am being part of this, and I can, if I wish so, change this. So in this case, it also shows you, as I said, that you have an influence, and this ends up leading into a very particularly good seed of consciousness on you. That is, sometimes there are some situations in which you find yourself that you wish to change, that take so minimal action that when you finally notice that, you become capable of realizing and acting on them. And I guess at this point, you already start to deal with what is rumination and what is probably overthinking, problems that we are not really mentioning here because we are assuming that you're capable of avoiding them, but certainly at this stage they already start to appear. So it isn't like everything is so bright because you did the last two well. There are always problems to this that might as well need a more mm, focused intervention from your side, first and foremost, on those problems before really moving on to anything else. Because on the first step, it is that you already decide to take big challenges and you start to be influential on this world, to try and make things happen the way in which you wish them to happen. So you started on the last one with minimal actions. Now you decide to move into what is a higher level of activity, one where you, as I said before, the best examples were given. If you decide to commit to a career, if you decide to commit to physical workout, if you decide to commit to getting, sometimes even to watch a whole series of something, I don't, it really depends on what you're considering big change or big actions. But there are a lot of things that do take a lot of will to fulfill and to act upon. And by doing so, it is that you can once again reassure yourself of your capacities. And if you can get to be part on, be an active, not simply an active, but an actively successful member of those activities that you have been wishing for, when all of those things do come in line, you get the biggest skill, that is the fifth point, and that is to now observe that you were capable of committing to something that was possible. So maybe if you decided to commit to something that was outside of your reach, you might also have a possibility because you already did something that was supposedly impossible for others. Or not only supposedly, because you can even, for example, observe how so many people still have a problem with what is this whole concept of losing weight, although it's in theory is easy. So you might as well start to notice that sometimes things are not so impossible as they seem. So the more you can divine in this area how many things you do wish for that are impossible for others and that you might wish to really get going, the more you can start to set goals that are going to last longer probably than what you are going to last. Not that that is the reality or that is the norm, because even more the wish is always to find something sufficiently impossible enough so that you can fulfill it in your lifetime, but that is a problem that you really have to deal with yourself. So the point itself being, you can still try to see how you do find and how you do have a good time doing things that are in theory not capable of being achieved, because you have already seen and have already experienced what was something that required so many of your efforts and that did in fact give you so many rewards that you have been interested in obtaining. And because of that, once you start working on something impossible, as I said, you also get the possibility of observing not only that what you do is important to yourself, but also might be sufficiently important to the rest of the world that you might also get motivated towards perpetuating those actions in the rest of the universe. Because I think one of the easiest examples for everybody who is really paying attention to this is you might as well not start with the notion of I want to make a, an Oscar winning movie, but you can start with simply deciding to create a movie because you might as well have never created a movie. And even if you decide to go with I want to create an Oscar winning movie, by having already made a movie instead of not having made even one, you're already putting one after another step towards the completion of that goal. So out of those things, as I said before, do stack into one another to show you how many capacities you do have. And in this case, the sense or the response ends up being that by simply knowing how much of a capacity you have over something, you can find different goals that are going to last you. In this case, by being the last stage until you finish your life on this world and meet your natural end. So all of those things are important because you can see them perspectively and sufficiently enough so that you can understand how to act upon them. And yeah, I think so far this is pretty understandable. I think so. I'm not so sure because there are also some concepts that might as well be escaping my mind right now. But I think with this, we have a proper start into this whole concept and idea, and we might observe where we want to go next. But yeah, we did a proper show at setting the foundational stones, I think, of this whole talk. And yeah, once again, I don't really know what might be the next one. But so far, we did a proper job at setting, yeah, an understandable goal with all of this. And yeah, I guess, not that I guess, sadly, I. These things do take a lot of mental energy to process and such, so at least from my end, I am a little bit more tired than what I expected. So I do have to say, yeah, we have to leave it here today. I I don't know how. Well, I certainly do know really how. Um, it really is because I never expected to be so incredibly baffled with so much information. But yeah, here we are, and here we dealt with everything that was presented to us so far. We will see next what we can continue with, but so far this is enough, I guess. Now I have a tiny problem, and that is I don't know if I really want to. Not that I really want to. I really should make the karaoke song or not because um, yeah, that's a request that I should supposedly fulfill for this stream. But I don't know. I didn't even practice the song to do it properly enough. But anyways, I don't really know. I think we did a well enough job, so we can be sufficiently happy with that, and everything else is kind of um, non non-relevant here. Yeah, I will prefer to keep it to the next one when I am not so tired, because yeah, I am I am feeling it. My mind is sleeping. It's going to bed before I even got into bed myself. So yeah, we'll have to reason by. Man. But yeah, that is the starting point. We will see where we do go next. But that's so far everything that I have to say now. Um, I mean, yeah, it is a heavy topic. Not that it really is impossibly hard to comprehend. It is more like it takes some. You have to switch between different levels of abstraction. So you do you do find yourself with different ideas that are harder than what is ever expected um, for the normality of your life, and it ends up being tiresome, really. But it overall isn't so. Also, I wouldn't even complain about it. I think it really is nice. But yeah, that's everything. I can't push myself that much. Well, yeah. As always, thanks not to me, but thanks to you for being here. Thanks, as I said, as always for being here, everybody. Thanks for watching. Thanks for watching the both. Thanks for. It is always a pleasure to be here, and it is always a pleasure to enjoy all of this craziness. I don't know. I think it is very enjoyable to say the very least that we have the possibility of doing something like this instead of I don't know what what I have been dealing with of this idea of turning off the no man. I wanted to rate. What is going on? I wanted to no. I wanted to rate Kamui, but Sono Wono went live. What the fuck? What is this? What? Uh, what? I want to see this. What the fuck? Yeah. Unassigned. I mistyped. Mistyped raid. What is going on? We're going there. That is where we're going. I thought I was pretty sure he removed himself from everywhere. What? He's back? This is going to be epic. I hope he's fine. I hope he's fine. But yeah, once again, as I said, thanks for everything, thanks for watching, thanks for looking, thanks for being here, thanks for sharing this moment. Whenever we have the possibility, we're getting back here. And even if we don't, at the very least, we enjoyed being here right now. So once again, thanks for all. And yeah, whenever we can, we're getting back. Now, we're going to raid Sono. I don't even know what he's doing. So we'll see what is going on over there. Thanks for everything. Goodbye.